Over now to meteorologist Mike Taylor with more. Mike.
Oh, looks can be deceiving. It almost looks warm out there with lots of sunshine that we have in play, but that same clear sky, the dry air mass that we have, and also when the sun sets with the calm winds, temperatures are really going to drop. So we have a frost advisory in effect for tonight. Technically, the timing will be from midnight to 9 a.m. for your Saturday morning, and that just means we'll have some widespread areas of temperatures in the 30s, and that could take out some of the plants. So we want to bring them in, especially if you're on the outskirts of Metro Detroit, say far west or even north near Lapeer, for instance, near that I-69 corridor. Just a heads up to you. So you see it goes all the way from Port Sanilac as far south as Lenawee and Monroe County. So all of Metro Detroit will be dealing with these temperatures falling into the 30s. Right now we're plus 30, so it lets you know how much the temperatures will drop. We're at 60 degrees over in Redford, Detroit 61, Grosse Pointe 61, Flat Rock, you're at 61 degrees as well. A few of us are still in the 50s right now. So Waterford at 58, Wixom 59, that goes out towards Brighton, even out towards Howell as well. And Ann Arbor, you're still holding on to 61 degrees currently. High pressure is going to stay with us for multiple days here. So the same pattern will be with us. So lots of sunshine's on tap, and that's why the main story forecast-wise will be the temperatures. And behind the scenes, we may have numbers in the 60s, but it's actually that dew point. That not only shows you how dry the air mass is, but the temperature never falls below the dew point. So the fact that it's at 32, that lets you know that we can fall into the 30s for tonight. And if you're curious, the record for today was 37, set back in 1875. Tomorrow, it'll be 38. We'll have lows pretty close to that. So this evening, we'll be into the 50s, and we go down to around the 40s by 10 o'clock. Overnight lows will drop to around 39 degrees. I'm thinking this will be closer to Detroit. And as we look at the local lows here, I want you to see that some spots, Lapeer 31, Howell at around 34 for an overnight low, Fowlerville 35, Chelsea 36, Bridgewater 37. And the further south and west you go, it only gets cooler. And when you head up north here near Capac, for instance, 33 for an overnight low. So a chilly wake up for Saturday morning for sure. You have to layer up. Sunshine will try to help us out. We'll gain about 20 degrees or so, but that's still a high temp of just 62. That's below average. Sunday, the same thing. It's just going to feel like fall, so I'm sure those PSLs at Starbucks are probably going to be selling off the charts tomorrow based on how the temperatures are going to feel. Highs only in the 60s, lows in the 40s. So pumpkin spice will definitely be a hot topic over the next couple of days here. Fall officially arrives on Tuesday, and ironically, that's when we warm up. The 70s return for Tuesday, and that'll stay with us all the way into next weekend.
Pretty weekend. Thank you, Mike. Coming up next at 5, a major ice cream company paying a record fine. Why they were fined millions of dollars.
Plus, the president's crackdown on TikTok, what it means for users. Stay with us. It's coming up next on 7 Action News at 5. President Trump's executive order against TikTok and WeChat goes into effect this Sunday. The Commerce Department will prohibit any moves to distribute or even maintain the app on an app store. That being said, if you've already downloaded the apps, you can't continue to use them. The Trump administration claims China is collecting personal data through the apps and putting national security at risk.
Bluebell Creameries has been ordered to pay a record fine over a 2015 listeria outbreak. The company was fined $17.25 million for criminal penalties. 3 people were killed in this outbreak. In a plea agreement, Bluebell admits it was notified about listeria contamination in ice cream products, but didn't immediately recall the items or make a statement about the health risk.
And a big change for the Papa John's pizza franchise. The company is moving much of its operations from Kentucky to a new global headquarters in Atlanta. Papa John's president Rob Lynch says the main reason for the move is to be closer to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. It will allow the company to connect more easily to domestic and international markets.
Coming up next on Action News at 5, making Detroit a cleaner place to live, what the city is doing to improve 500 alleys by the end of this year.
And confusion about testing guidelines from the CDC. We'll have that story next at 5.
All new at 5:30, protecting yourself at the polls. Record turnout expected for the November election. What you can do to keep from getting COVID-19.
Dealing with uncomfortable masks. Everything from fog glasses to getting acne. What you can do to fix the most annoying things so you don't waste your money.
And the call for a cleaner Detroit. What the city is doing to improve 500 alleys by the end of this year.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 5:30 starts right now.
And we thank you for staying with us this afternoon. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Alan Campbell. Over 5 million Michiganders are expected to vote in the upcoming November election.
But many are wondering if in-person voting at the polls will be safe. Joining us now to answer that question is our Chief Health Editor, Dr. Partha Nandi. Happy Friday to you, Doc.
Happy Friday to you, Glenda and Alan. Hey, you know, lots of folks, right? Lots of folks, including some of my patients, are wondering, right, how safe in-person voting is. And my answer is that it can be safe. But, and this is a very important but, you have to be very careful and have to follow the guidelines. And I think that's how you can make it safe.
So what are the guidelines that people should know about?
So Glenda, first of all, Michigan Secretary of State has talked about this, right? Like how election workers will be wearing masks, gloves, and face shields, super important, and how voters can expect public areas to be sanitized and social distancing protocols to be in place. It's all super helpful in my opinion, but you'll want to know more details. For instance, will voters be waiting in lines outside? Also, how many people will be allowed inside at a time? Will there be plexiglass between the voters and the poll workers? Also, is there an entrance door and a different exit door, allowing for one-way traffic so everybody's not jammed in one place? Also, it's important to know the location of your precinct. If you can't, it's best to avoid high-risk facilities like senior care places, right? The safer locations in general are community recreation centers, convention centers, school gymnasiums, and large parking lots. So very airy places where people can space out.
So, Doc, I'm also sure that you are concerned about long lines inside buildings. What advice do you have for voters to help keep them safe while they are at the voting polls?
100%, Alan. You do not want to be stuck in a long line in an enclosed, narrow hallway, right? It's a perfect place for the virus. The virus loves indoor spaces with poor ventilation, so it can infect a bunch of people. So here's my advice. Try to avoid busy voting times, right? So like lunchtime and before or after work hours. Now, mid-morning, mid-afternoon tends to be less busy. Next, please be sure to wear a mask, right? The best masks, I've said this before, are made of cotton and they have 2 to 3 layers of fabric. Also, please keep your mask over your nose. I'm sure you've seen it, I've seen it too. People wear a mask and it's below their nose. Not the right move. The virus is more likely to enter your nose. Why? Because that's how most of us breathe. And lastly, please bring your own pen, some hand sanitizer or disinfecting wipes. That way, once you've use the voting booth, you can clean your hands immediately. It's super important to vote. I'll tell you that it's never more important. It's always a privilege and a right for us to do that, and you can do it safely even during COVID. It's really important for folks to hear that.
And you can wait in your car. I did that during the primary. Just wait till the
100%.
line goes down. Okay, Dr. Nandi, thank you for everything always. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Well, tonight a new report is leading to confusion about coronavirus testing guidelines. The New York Times says the guidelines that were posted last month were not approved by the CDC scientists. It states people who don't have symptoms, even if you've been exposed, do not need to get tested. Now, the sudden change reportedly came from the Department of Health and Human Services and the Coronavirus Task Force. The White House testing coordinator denied those allegations on Good Morning America.
It absolutely came from the CDC. There are thousands of people at the CDC. I have no idea who the New York Times talked to, but I know for a fact that the version that went to the task force was reviewed and approved by Dr. Redfield.
The new guidelines directly contradict previous recommendations. Dr. Anthony Fauci is also contradicting the president's claim that we could have a vaccine by Election Day.
It is a Halloween tradition visiting haunted houses, but there are some changes because of the pandemic. 7 Action News reporter SYMA Chowdhry is checking out Erebus Haunted Attraction in Pontiac and shows us how things will look a bit different.
It's that spooky time of year where haunted attractions, including Erebus and Pontiac, get ready to scare some visitors. But because of the pandemic, it was not clear if they were going to be able to open. And